Hey, what's up guys? So we are here today at the Radenso booth, the No Limits booth here at SEMA, and we're here with Michael and with John of, well, No Limits. So, hey, how's it going guys?
Good, how are you?
Good to see you guys again.
Good to see you.
So we've got a whole bunch of new products that they're going to be releasing. They've got some stuff that you guys have seen on the forums. We now have American firmware. We've got a lot of the stuff that's up and running, and we've got updates coming for some of the existing products. And so they're going to be telling us a bunch of stuff as far as new things that are coming out from Radenso, as far as new products, as well as updates. So cool, where should we get started?
Probably with just our product line.
Okay.
I'm sure everybody's familiar that we had a whole bunch of different products over the last couple of years, and what we've started to focus on recently is saying, hey, instead of doing a bunch of things well, let's pick a few things to do excellently. And this show really represents our first public announcement outside of the forums of what we're trying to do. So we have the traditional XP, which has been a really good seller for us. Everybody's familiar with the performance on it, particularly the great false filtering.
Yep, good filtering.
We have the newly announced Pro M, which is think of it as a continuation of the Pro SE architecture with some new features like multi-radar and improved false filtering. And then we have our RCM, which is our custom remote installed unit with a brand new announcement that we are integrating and also selling the anti-laser priority to brick and mortar stores as one package to make it easy for the end user to use.
Cool. And then there's also the no photo as well.
Correct, the no photo.
And we'll do a separate video with John just going up the no photo as well. But let's actually go ahead and go over to different detectors. You guys can show us all the new stuff that's coming out, and we can take a closer look at all the things.
Perfect.
So we're going to start off by talking about the Radenso RCM. I actually have one of these in my car right now. Been beta testing it. Thank you, by the way.
Absolutely.
So I've been beta testing it with Euro firmware, but we have it here, the complete package with the ALP integration, which I haven't had a chance to use yet, and this is with American firmware. So we're going to go ahead and take a look at the package, and then we'll hop inside the car and take a look at the whole system in action. So tell us a little bit about the RCM here with MRCD and what all it's got.
Absolutely. So as a consumer myself, somebody who's been running custom installed radar detectors for probably 15 years now, everybody knows that the anti-laser priority is a pretty awesome laser jammer. Super effective against the Dragon Eye. I think probably a lot of people would say is the best solution against Dragon Eye, and since it was the best, I wanted to run it in my car. And of course, being involved with a radar detector company, I also wanted to run my own radar, and that led to a problem. If I wanted to run what I believe is the best radar system and the best laser system, I had to have two separate systems. And that's what Michael and I started talking about and saying, hey, I wonder if there's a way that we can work with the folks over there and integrate it. So on the forums, people have known that we are working on integration for a while, and we finally got it working really well enough to release to the general public. But what we're announcing here at the show is that we've also have an agreement where we're now allowed to essentially sell the ALP, a custom version of the ALP with no control panel that only works with our RCM, along with the RCM, to distributors and consumers. So your average customer who really wants a good radar detector, maybe doesn't know a lot about radar detectors and laser jammers other than Googling for your videos, will be able to walk into a store, a real brick and mortar store, and say, I want the best, and he'll be able to buy a system that integrates ALP jamming, defeats Dragon Eye, with a really good radar system with front and rear arrows, all controlled from one package. I think that was something that was maybe a little bit of a hole in the marketplace before, and I'm really excited to be able to fill it. It's just a clean system that does really well with laser and radar.
Yeah, and I like it a lot because you've got ALPs, which are the best jammer, and then if you want to integrate it with a radar detector, you could do the net radar or something. But what I really like about your solution is it integrates with the ALP, so you don't have to rely on the ALP's control pad. Now you have one display and one control pad. And now you also have your arrows, you've got your lockouts available without having to pair with the phone or any of that kind of stuff. It's all done from one centralized interface, and you've got great performance and BSM filtering, and I mean, kind of like the whole package all in one. So I think it's going to be a really great system.
And that was really the idea. I mean, one thing that I believe really strongly is that there are a lot of different types of customers in the market, and that there is room for multiple companies to serve those customers in a different way equally well. I mean, you mentioned the net radar. It's a fantastic system, but that's a different customer maybe than somebody that wants a flush mount single point control unit.
Exactly.
Different price point, different customer, different needs. It's awesome. Ultimately, the consumer wins when there's multiple companies that try to fill those niches and those needs.
And like what I find interesting about this one is I can see it appealing to both enthusiasts who want, ultimate performance, because, well, you're getting that. This guy was take a look at my test results. The RC,
We're
no
really
problem.
excited about it.
No problem with that. ALP, you got the best laser jammer, so the enthusiast is going to be happy. And the fact that they're integrated now for people who just want like an integrated solution, just put it in my car and it all works together. One control pad, interface, system, setup, updates, everything. I think it's going to really appeal to the general customer as well.
Yep.
So I think this is going to be a really interesting system.
The first time we got everything all installed and we were working on the integration, the first time we actually shot it with a Dragon Eye gun and we got the proper directional alerts on the control panel, that was a cool moment. It made me smile. It's like, this is really neat. You know, this is going to do well for us.
So actually, speaking of which, we've got the system here installed in one of their cars. We've got the Dragon Eye with the latest firmware that's available. So let's actually go ahead and hop in the car. We're going to shoot the ALP RCM setup with the Dragon Eye, and you guys are actually going to get to see the ALP RCM integration live. All right, so we're inside the car now. We've got the RCM installed front and rear, and we have the ALP installed front and rear. We've got Randy outside who's going to go ahead and shoot the car for us.
Laser.
And there you go. You can see it's got the voice alerts and it tells us direction, front or rear, where the signal's coming from.
Laser. Laser.
And then we've also got it set up with a bunch of new features. Since this is the American firmware, it's got the ALP integration, which I haven't had a chance to test out yet. I wanted to go ahead and show you guys all the cool stuff that's being added that, well, we haven't had a chance to see yet. So John's going to go ahead and walk us through some of the cool new features that are now available.
Definitely. So a lot of it, some of your viewers may already be familiar with the basic user interface and structure of the menu, but there are a couple of cool things that I wanted to show off. So getting into the menu is as easy as pressing the power button. And one thing that I know you have covered that I just think is kind of cool is that you can control the settings for the front and rear radar separately.
I like that.
So you can turn on maybe MRCD in the front, but turn off rear detection.
That's awesome.
And I know you mentioned that before, but that is key because you really have no need for a mile long or a half a mile long MRCD alert. So you can do the same thing with XK band. You could change the filtering levels individually for wide and narrow, high, low filters. And let me get along to the laser features. So you can see here we have the ALP integrated, and the first thing is you can turn on the parking assistance on and off for the parking sensors, which is kind of a neat feature.
I like that.
You can control the jamming time, and what this does, and if you put it on unlimited, the ALPs will constantly go off, and as your users know, you can set it to automatically turn off after maybe 5 seconds. So if you get hit, you're not going to jam to gun, slow down, and you don't even have to reach up and hit a button.
Yeah. What do you press to kill the jammers? Is it any of the buttons? Or?
We recommend just having it set not to unlimited and having it set to timeout. It's the cleanest way to do it.
But if you want to kill it even faster,
you just power off the unit, or this is one really cool thing since we've already scrolled through some of the new features. Kills the ALP as well. Kills the entire system.
So that everything.
And you can hear it powering off.
Power off. That's cool.
So if you get pulled over and you want to demonstrate that you have total stealth, pull it off. The entire system shuts down. You don't have to worry about anything. It looks like a GPS or a phone mount.
Right. Yeah.
So you got a couple different ways to kill it, but to be responsible laser users, we recommend setting it to automatically time off.
Yeah, that's cool. And then you can always just press a button to manually kill it, right?
Yep.
Cool. And then also the other thing, I see you've got support for the MRCT rear antenna, MRCD.
The front antenna on here isn't MRCD yet.
Okay, gotcha.
I already had that installed in my car because I was using it in...
Me too, I've got the non-MRCD version.
For SEMA, it didn't matter.
The MRCD filter, low and high. Okay, I saw that with the RPME testing.
But those for the front antenna, obviously, once you hook that up, it's the exact same.
Of course, yeah.
Exact same
so that's cool, and you can even tell the difference between MRCD and not. But so for the shipping versions, they're all going to be the MRCD front and rear, correct?
Correct.
Okay, cool. So we've got support for the international radar guns built in as well. Awesome. And then next, we're going to go ahead and take a look at the Radenso Pro M, which I just found out is actually what we're going to be calling it. Not the RPME, kind of like an RPSC, but it's called the Radenso Pro M. So it's kind of like the RPSC, but it adds multi-radar support. Plus, it's got some other improvements as well, right?
Yeah, that's correct. The Pro M is basically the RPSE, but it has an added RF board to detect the frequency modulated radar, which is the motor radar, which the guys in Canada already experience. Motor radar is also found in various countries in Europe. Holland has it, Germany has it, Austria has it, Switzerland has it, Eastern Europe has it, and Australia has it, Hong Kong has it. So
all over the world,
it's pretty much everywhere in the world popping up. Of course, only for the safety. but it's a good cache machine, obviously, and we think that sooner or later, motor radar or some other frequency modulator radar like ATSO, RT3, or something else, or motor radar CT, will pop up in the United States also. Maybe not in every state, but in some states.
So you guys are ready in case it does show up here.
So
in the
we
States.
thought that instead of carrying two different radar detectors, the SE and the Pro M, we think it's better to have one version that will eventually also pick up the motor radar in the United States if it ever comes here. So it's definitely future-proof.
Future-proof, yeah.
There's some guys in Canada, they have already been able to purchase the Pro M for a couple of weeks, and it started up, and we were very good in the motor radar detection, but it was also falsing on motor radar. Motor radar is a frequency modulator radar, which is very similar to blind spot monitors or collision avoidance systems. They also mainly operate on modulated frequencies because they're not measuring speed, but they're measuring distance. And we picked up a lot of falses from the blind spot monitors because it's also frequency modulated radar.
Yeah, kind of one quick note, if I can mention, about the MRCD, just kind of what makes it different is it's a little bit trickier to detect because they use frequency modulation, like you mentioned. It's low powered, and one of the tricks to frequency modulation, the reason they do it is they can measure not only speed but also distance. Just like blind spot monitors need to know distance if the car is close to you, so it's a little bit different type of radar. So they actually need different hardware and different software to pick up the frequency modulated radar, which is a little bit different than the normal traditional police radar we have in the US, which is why you need all this. So it is something new to develop, and it's something that in beta testing, you guys are doing really well with picking it up and filtering out falses.
Yes, we started with the first version, which was good on motor radar detection, not so good on the filtering.
Yeah,
so we came up with a new firmware that took care of the motor radar falsing.
Which is good now,
and
really good.
It has been really a good success in Canada. We've had various new versions of firmware, adding new features, and bringing over the RPSE features to the Pro M as well. And we've found one firmware that is not only taking care of falsing from MRCD and improving on MRCD detection, but it is also really, really good on K-band falsing. So one of the issues is obviously always with every radar detector K-band falsing.
As far as like BSM filtering?
BSM filtering.
Yeah, so beta here is getting really good too as far as the beta firmwares.
And one of these firmware versions that some of the beta testers in Canada have been testing or are testing is really, really good on false alert filtering for everything. And that is a version that we are concentrating on, that we want to bring on to the RPME or the Pro M, as well as on the Pro SE.
So that's still under development.
That is still under development, but it should be,
yep.
I would say, it's a matter of maybe 2 weeks or so from now.
Okay, so very
So
soon.
it's really in the very last stages.
It's almost ready.
Of exactly. We already know what we have to do. It's just bringing everything in one package together.
Okay. And then what about as far as like updates coming to the RPSC? And I know there's been some improvements here.
The RPSE is obviously still supported by us with firmware updates. So even though we are not actively selling it on our homepage anymore, we still continue to support it with firmware updates, database updates, and so forth.
That's good.
So it's not going to be obsolete, and we continue bringing everything over that we have from the ME, from the Pro M, and we also carry it over to the SE. There's one thing though that I'd like you to know. The new version of the Pro M, we obviously want to make it even better on filtering. We think that filtering has become the most important feature for a radar detector.
Even more than crazy long range? I mean, the range here is
Crazy
excellent.
range is good,
Yeah.
but crazy range is not good if it's accompanied with multiple falses.
So balance to have both
So
sides.
you have to have very good detection, obviously, off-axis detection, and we know that the Pro M and the SE is very good on off-axis detection, but also good on straight-on performance.
On axis, yeah.
But false alert filtering is in our opinion, very important as well.
Yeah.
What good does it do if you have great detection, but it alerts to everything? So with the new firmware that we carry into the Pro M as well as the SE, we think we made a major step forward, and beta testing supports that idea that it is really helping on the fault sync. But we also think we should go another step further, and we made a change on the hardware on the Pro M, which is not out yet.
So this is separate from the extra RF board for the MRCD.
That is correct.
Additional hardware
that is correct.
update.
That is correct. We made an additional hardware update that allows us to program the firmware to look more into the K-band signal, to time the K-band signal, and to take, how long it takes for a signal to show up and how long does it show up. And we can set that in the firmware, but we needed to update the hardware in order to do that. And the new Pro M for the United States, which we expect in the next couple of weeks, will have that new hardware, and it makes it really, really awesome on K-band filtering.
So you've got more sophisticated signal analysis to give you even better filtering than what we had even with the RPSE.
Exactly.
So there's an additional hardware update even, so like the RPSE is going to get a software update to make it better.
And it makes it really good. I mean, we have the evidence. The guys in Canada have been testing it, and they find it absolutely awesome.
So there is an extra...
But I think it is even more awesome with a new hardware upgrade.
So there's an additional hardware update for the Pro M to give you even better BSM filtering than even what the RPSE is going to get with the upcoming firmware update.
That is correct. That's correct.
Okay, perfect. And that's separate from the RF board for the MRCD detection.
Yeah, I've been running that a sample for a couple thousand miles, and it's really absolutely amazing on filtering.
Speaking of which, compared to the XP, how would you compare the the new upcoming Pro M to the XP?
It is definitely as good, or I think it's even better. I've been driving it. Obviously, I cannot run two detectors at the same time, but there are some vehicles that the XP would pick up and the Pro M would not pick up.
That's really good to hear. I mean, before it's kind of been like get the XP for better filtering or the RPSE for better performance, and you kind of had to choose. But now you've got the option of, well, get one detector and it's got great range and great filtering, so you don't have to choose anymore.
That is correct.
So that's a really cool update. I like that a lot.
That is correct.
Yeah. Cool. And then I know you mentioned there's one other thing, I guess kind of a little thing as far as the suction cups, right?
Then we did a few things. The suction cups, they were not too good. We upgraded the suction cups.
And you mentioned on the forum if anybody has like the original suction cups for the
That's
Radenso
correct.
Pro or Pro
That's
SE.
correct. If you guys if you guys still have the old suction cups and you're having problems with it, the detector falls down, send us an email to sales@radenso.com and let us know what your order number was, and we'll send you a pair of new suction cups
And
for
I
free.
did that, and they sent me 2 sets of suction cups for Radenso Pro and RPSE, and they are way better than the originals. So yeah, that's awesome as well. So cool. Is there anything else, or does that cover all the highlights?
That pretty much covers the highlights for the ME, for the Pro M. New packaging, somebody had noticed. We've also decided to go to just one travel case. We used to have a big travel case for the SE. We started using that for the Pro M. We decided it's better to have the small one. It's easier to pack into your luggage if you travel and you have to go with somewhere.
Yeah.
And the detector is small enough to fit the accessories as well as the detector in it.
Yeah,
So,
I've got both, and I like this a lot better. It's so much more compact when you're traveling. It takes up less room in my closet, for storing this for when I don't need it. And you got the detector, the mount, the power cable, everything you need in this little case. So that's a nice little change too. So cool. Well, thank you so much. You've got a bunch of awesome stuff coming. I'm really excited for everybody to get a chance to start getting these detectors and running them themselves.
All right.
So great. Thank you, Michael.
Thank you.
All right, so we are in the car now. We've got the RCM installed. And we're getting... Not yet. And the laser detection works great, so Randy just shot us.